Hey everybody, it's Joy Packard. Ooh, it's so bright outside. How's it going? It's a Sunday, October the 21st, and it's been an awesome week. As many of you know, I got back from Guatemala, and it was an amazing week. It was an opportunity of a lifetime. We had such a great time there in Guatemala. It has become one of my favorite places in the world. You know, I have been looking forward to this trip for so long, and it's a life changer. And if you ever, decide to go to any kind of countries, I highly recommend it there. Just like anywhere else. Hi, Angela. Just like anywhere else that we go, there's always, people were kind of worried about being Guatemala and all this. And honestly, anywhere in the world, I mean, we live in Houston, there's danger, different things that are happening, but we found a lot of beauty. There's so much beauty there in Guatemala, not just with the country, but with the people and the culture. It was just incredible to see. That's one of the reasons that I love to travel, is because I love seeing how other people live and, what their traditions are. And, one of the things that many of you know, I also did a 10-day social media fast, which I was off Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. Pretty much I deleted the app from my phone to give this experiment a try. In our church, we had what's called General Conference the week before, where we were challenged to get off of social media for 10 days. Specifically the women, because, Pinterest is such a big, addiction. And not for me, but for many women. But, I wanted to share with you the results of what happened. And because it was a great experiment, it was a great 10-day thing. And so one of the things, if, we are all excited about our lives and the things that we learn, and it's great. And one of the things with social media, if, we think about it, our world has become a social media world, to where we're on our phone, we are on our computer, we are, on our video games, we're on our Game Boys or whatever we have, Nintendos. And, I remember going to a specific country, and it was actually in Hong Kong, and I was walking around the subway, getting on the train, and when I was on the train, I looked around, and every single person they were on their phone. I'm on my phone a lot too. This is where I'm sharing with you some of the things of this social media fast. So when we were in Hong Kong that one time, I remember, looking around, and like I say, everybody's on their phone, walking even with their phone. And so what has happened is it's become a technology world, right? Which is good in a lot of ways, but it can also be detrimental if we let it. And so, I made a decision on, Monday morning, the day after we had this challenge to do the 10-day social media fast. And I'll tell you, whenever I got up in the morning, because I removed the icon from my phone. And I remember, for the first morning, it was really hard for me, because as soon as I woke up, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this. And realized that those icons were not on my phone. And so what happens is the next day got easier, the next day got even easier. And by about day 6 or 7, I completely didn't really miss it at all. And what came to pass from it all is this: being more present with ourselves, with those around us, with life in general, because what happens is we actually get to talk to people. We're not just on Facebook, we're not just on Instagram, Pinterest, doing this, looking down at our phone or whatever it is that we're doing with social media. Now, social media is awesome. Social media has allowed me to connect with people like you guys, with my family, to keep up. A lot of what I do in my business, they have Facebook groups. And so, it's one of those things where it's really nice to have that, right? And I kind of look at Facebook as like a journal for me too. I document my life. I think of things that I can talk about that can help you, put it on my blog, then it goes onto YouTube. And so whenever you take a break, and I challenge you guys to do it if you haven't done it as well. Maybe not 10 days, maybe you can do it for a few, and then maybe you can just realize and, be present and realize what is taking place around you when you're not on social media. That's the neat thing that I found for myself. I decided to have more physical things, going back to, instead of having my scriptures on my phone and reading on my phone, I started picking up my physical scriptures again. I started picking up my physical journals again, because everything is on our phones these days, right? We have our calendars, we have our planners, we have our scriptures, we have our books. We are always on our phone doing something. And so I decided to just put my phone away for a while and just have my Apple Watch on. And that way, if, somebody like my husband or my kids are trying to get a hold of me, I could know. But I even took a break as much as I could from my phone. And I tell you what, it was actually really, really wonderful. I mean, it was, like I say, we were challenged to look around and to see how we were feeling when we were not on social media. And so there are more opportunities to write, to be creative, to practice music, to sing, to write in our journals, to meditate, instead of waking up and going straight to our phones. It would be awesome to wake up and say our prayers to God, right? For those of you who believe in God, or to write in your journals, or to keep basically, think about many, many years ago when I was in high school, and we didn't have phones. And, when I got married, we got a beeper, and then we had those bag phones, right? So it can be done without, in other words, we can live a nice life without feeling like we have to focus on being on social media all the time, right? In Guatemala, most people at the markets don't even have email, WhatsApp, internet, they don't have business cards. I mean, they live a pretty simple life. And it's pretty neat to see how people can be happy whenever they don't always have these things, right? They don't have iPhones. All the kids in Guatemala don't have iPhones. You know what they do? They're out there working. They're out there weaving. They're out there, in the fields, doing the cotton and doing all the different things that they do. But the thing that I love the most about being off social media for 10 days was just the loving relationships that made me more present. Instead of texting or being on Facebook Messenger or whatever, it was pick up the phone, or it was face-to-face conversations, and, more time with the grandkids, more time with my husband, more time with my kids, and less time feeling like I'm obligated to have to be on social media. Now, don't get me wrong, you'll still see me on here quite a bit, but I will probably be cutting down my time, maybe, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, 10 minutes in the evening, something like that, instead of constantly doing the scrolling that we do that just basically wastes our time. There's so many other productive things that we could be doing besides being on our phone and seeing how everybody else's lives are. Now, I love Facebook and the fact that you can follow people who inspire you. You can have groups that you might have to be in for an Amazon course that you bought, because that's the only way you can get content. And these are all things that we have to take into consideration. And I also love being able to connect with people, with just people in general. I love Facebook. Like, for example, I met people in Guatemala, and I'm able to keep in touch with them through Facebook. And I love learning about people and people's lives. And so, this is going to be different for everybody on what they see, what a 10-day social media fast does for them. These are just some of the things that worked for me, and it was actually really wonderful because I had more time, like I say, to journal, to really focus on the things that I personally want to be doing, right? And one of them being humanitarian service, like places like Guatemala or, Costa Rica, or wherever I choose. And so whatever it is that, you may be doing that you feel is sucking up your time, I challenge you to take a break from that as well. It may not be Facebook. It may be video games, or it might be, spending 2 hours just sitting and doing nothing and listening to music, rock and roll music, or whatever we do. And don't get me wrong, there is a time and place for us to also be still and to do nothing, because just as important as it is to have a social media fast or whatever it is that you're trying to do to find yourself and, I guess really think about the meaning of life in general. We're so caught up in just electronics. I just get so tired of looking at my phone. And it's been awesome. I bought physical scriptures again, large print, so I can just read. So I'm reading again, physical books, playing the piano more, just all these things that are coming to pass because I'm not letting social media suck up my time. And so whatever your time sucker is for you, if it's not social media, you can figure it out and maybe do a 3 or 5 day experiment from it and decide, and what you want to see from it. I did a whole lot more meditating. I did a whole lot more, maybe exercising, just taking care of myself, or reading things about things that I am passionate about, right? So there are certain things that can happen by taking that break from whatever it is. Like I say, yours may not be social media. It may be, watching football games all day long. And so what's happening is your business isn't moving forward, right? And so it's been an awesome weekend. I've been an awesome week. Guatemala was one of the most amazing countries I have been to. I'm going to share with you one more story, and then I'm going to let you go because I got home and I'm tired. Been at church all morning, at different meetings. But one thing that happened when I was in Guatemala, we were in traffic. We were heading over to our next village, our next city, and what happened was there was a barricade because there was a protest going on. There were women and babies and men that just lined up on the road, and they were wanting a government official to come and talk to them so that they can tell them about, maybe they want better water, better sanitation in their village. They wanted to be heard, right? And while we were in line waiting in traffic, I looked over to the right-hand side and I saw this family. It was a mother and about 3 or 4 of her children sitting on the grass. Not benches, not, different things, but the grass. And I looked over there, and one of their home was made of this, the tin, pieces of tin. And their bathroom was like a curtain, like a tent with a curtain. And then they had another little area. And it just really made me realize, and I took a picture of that and sent it to my kids, because sometimes I think we don't really understand what we have and how we are truly blessed, especially if we live in the United States. You go to a third world country like that, and the thing is that even though they were living, in poverty, and 69% in Guatemala are living in poverty, and it's really hard to, when I see food being thrown away because there's so many people there that are starving and that don't live in a decent home like that. But it really, it just really made me realize part of my mission of wanting to do these humanitarian efforts, eventually. And so, it was just a blessing to be able to go to Guatemala. It was awesome. It was a business trip. I did some sourcing in the markets, but I also was able to do some touring and, meet some of the people and interact with them. And one thing that I really love is being able to, interact with the people there, because they were so grateful to just even have us there, and so friendly. It's everybody's buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches. That's how you greet people. And people actually look at you and are present. And sometimes, as we're on our phone looking down, I want you to imagine yourself right now with your phone. And if you were always looking at your phone, what are the people around you thinking? Number one, maybe she's not very approachable because she's on her phone. Number two, that phone is more important than me. Number three, it's one of those things where it's becoming a less interactive world. And it's sad. We even text each other when we live in the same house. Instead of going over to the next room, we text each other. I'm guilty of it too. I don't feel like getting out of my bed or whatever. But I guess, there's so many different results that had happened in a good way from doing that social media fast. But one of the things that really, like I say, if I had to pick just a phrase or one benefit, it would be that I was more present with myself, with my family, and everything in my life. And soon it was actually really, really nice to not feel like I had to be obligated to be on social media. So I love connecting with all of you. That's why I stay here. And I need it for my business, as far as some of the groups, like I say, and everything that I'm trying to do. And that's one of the reasons that I do what I do. So anyway, it's been beautiful, beautiful weather here in Texas today. It's like 72 beautiful sunny degrees. It's been an awesome, hey Ralph, how you doing? I'll have to check that out, whatever you posted. So, I think that Sundays are a good time to be thinking and contemplating, meditating on how you want to move forward in your life, in your business, and whatever it takes to do that. And one other thing about being on our phones too much, and like right before we sleep, I slept better because It wasn't the last thing I was doing every night by being on my phone all the way until I fell asleep. I put my phone down, and I did some reading with a physical book, and then that was awesome. So nice, Ralph. I'm going to have to listen to that. Thank you. And so, you know, I do, you know, when I'm traveling, if I have to read my scriptures on my phone, I do. But as much as possible now, I like to do my stuff off of my phone. You know, I know it's cool to have our calendars and all these different awesome things, but I went back to physical, like a physical calendar, you know, a daily planner, some physical scripture sets here at home, so that I'm not constantly holding my phone. I am honestly so tired of holding my phone. So I don't. And I've really, really enjoyed seeing the benefits of going through that social media fast. So I'm gonna go take a nap. I'm resting on Sunday, and it's just one of those things where we heard so many amazing messages today in church. Sundays are always an inspiring day for me, because, you know, I just feel a lot of love and a lot of upliftment when I, you know, do the things that we normally don't do on a Saturday or on a Sunday. So I hope everything is well in all of your world. It's good to be back with you from my social media fast. And I look forward to sharing with you some more thoughts. I am behind on my podcast, but we've had people here for about a month, and it's been a very special time in our life where our son came home from our mission, and we've had family for about a month, and I made that more important, as we should. And so I will be catching up with my podcast next week. We're probably on episode number 21, I think, and it's called Joy Reveals. It's on iTunes and on the Stitcher app, STITCHER, on your Android phone. So I will post the link as far as our podcast in the comments below, so that you can find it. And starting next week, we will begin again. And so I'm hoping to get back to weekly. You know, we've had a lot of excitement in our family in the last month, from returned missionaries to, you know, all of these different things. So you guys have an amazing rest of your Sunday. I hope your weather is as beautiful wherever you are as it is here in Houston. First time to wear sweater for the season officially. I was kind of cold this morning. So all right, you guys take care. I'll talk to you guys soon.